employee in the kingdom, or there's a place called hell, that's not good doctrine. That's not sound doctrine.
That's right. It says, thou shalt be a good minister of Yahushai. And a good minister. We're ministers of Yahushai. Minister means to serve, right? Nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto thou hast attained, but refuse profane. What is profane? Outside the temple, right? Refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto righteousness. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
This is 1 Timothy 1:9. Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mother, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and that there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. You know, like Pastor mentioned about Lahab talking about that he nailed it to the cross. You know, so that means you could do all these things and not be held accountable for it. You know, that's why the Most High is still jacking people up, because his laws are still in effect. You know, that's why you got these so-called Christians in the churches teaching that madness that the law is done away with, when it's not. And Lahab, pretty much all he did was he became a Christian from the church Christian or Baptist or whatever with a Hebrew Israelite twist. You know, so he just went back to the church, you know, that old Christian believing in sweet Jesus church teaching. You know, that's what he went back to. What's that? Yeah, he went back to that vomit. That's right. He's that dog that turned back to the vomit. You know, like a dog you ever watch a dog throw up and he goes back and starts licking the vomit back up? That's what Lahab did. He threw up and licked that, you know, and licked that vomit back up. All right, so that was it on that.
This is the backup. This is the further going to Lahab, that poor lost soul. Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after, and he would say, and not after Christ. Well, first of all, that's not his name. It's the Messiah. 9. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, and ye are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power, in whom also ye are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, meaning circumcised in your heart, in your spirit, all right? In putting off of the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Yahushai. So that's a spiritual thing, okay? Let me scroll down. Buried with him in baptism, wherein also ye are risen with him through the faith of the operation of the Most High, who have raised him from the dead. And you, being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, have he quickened, made alive, together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. Now, you bonehead, it's talking about the past sins that you committed. Right. Once you accept Yahushai, you got to get right.
That's why here, right? That's why whenever somebody whenever Yahushua would heal somebody, what he say? He said, you know, your sins have been forgiven. Go your way and sin no more. Yeah. What sin? The breaking of the law.
I got you. The book of John 8:11, and I believe this was Let me start at 10. When Yahushua had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he saith unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? This is the woman that committed adultery, right? Caught in the very act, right? Yep. Have no man condemned thee? Now you had that big crowd ready to stone this woman, yep. Right? Reading on. Was probably there. Yeah. It says, she said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
And that's the point, you know? And, you know, another thing, too, that I was just thinking about just now, as Apostle Tar was reading that last scripture he read, you know, when I all the times I've heard Lahab speak, you know, and tapes that I've heard of him and everything, I'd never heard him really speak about Yahushai. You know, now he's always talking about Christ, 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 which that's not the Lord's name. But back then, he never spoke about the Lord. You know, he always said, the Most High showed me, and the Most High, and the Most High, and the Most High. You would never hear the name Yahushua come out of his mouth. That's right. No, now all of a sudden, he's on fire for sweet Jesus.
That's right. I got one more for you. The book of John 5:12. Then asked they him, What man is that which saith unto thee, Take up thy bed and walk? And he that was healed wist not who it was, for Yahushua had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward, Yahushua findeth him in the temple. This is the guy Yahushua healed, right? Who couldn't walk. And said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. I mean, now you can walk, your body's strong, whatever. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee.
That's a worse thing come on. So the Lord didn't say, well, look, it was nailed to the cross. You know, you can sin as much as you want. You don't have to worry about it. No, he said, sin no more. He said, at least a worse thing happened to thee.
Romans 6:1. What shall we say then? This is the Apostle Paul speaking. Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? The Most High forbid. How shall we that are dead in sin live any longer therein? Know ye not that so many of us as were baptized into Yahushua were baptized into his death? It says, therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Yahushua was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. So just because you was forgiven, that don't mean, or just because you have grace, that don't mean you can go ahead and just break the laws. I'm going to start from the top again. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? The Most High forbid. The Most High is saying no. So Lahab, you should shut the hell up.
Yeah.
This is Galatians 5:13. For brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. So in other words, just because the liberty is what? Grace. So just because we have grace doesn't mean we could just go ahead and sin. Oh, well, you know, I got grace, so let me eat this pork sandwich.
Oh,
you know?
The Apostle Paul said, I do not frustrate the grace.
Khan.
Which backs up what you said. He said, I do not frustrate the grace.
This is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 15. For so is the will of the Most High, that with well-doing you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of the Most High. You know, and that because that's the reason why the Most High had to do away with the law of sacrifice. Yeah. That's why he said, look, I'm tired of your I don't want to smell on your feast anymore. He got tired of it because Israel was running into the ground. That's why he said, now that you have grace, don't use it as a cloak of maliciousness. You know?
Yeah, they'd have a lamb ready. Like they go and get the lamb. They know they were going to sin. They have the lamb ready right after they sinned. Like you have an Israelite going to commit adultery. We say, man, let me get this lamb first. Then after I commit adultery, I can sacrifice this lamb. Being wicked as hell, man. Yeah. I got a scripture, the book of Colossians, the 3rd chapter, beginning at the 9th verse. It says, lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on the new man. So the new man ain't supposed to go back into his old ways. Right. his old conniving, lying, deceitful, deceiving ways. He's supposed to be a new man. It says, have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him, which is who? Yahweh Shai.
Hey, I gotta read this. There comes the violator on that video I put out. Alizé speaks his mind, right? This is the violator, Mr. Sicario, Alizé.